Today, folks, we're talking e-commerce, but more particularly analytical data and payment gateways, which doesn't sound all that interesting until you dive down into something like a snowflake. And what we're going to get into is like the Chinese competitor that already has contracts under its belt with Alibaba, JD.com, and they just recently entered an agreement with Chinese Unicom subsidiary Yunnan, if I'm saying that correctly, which is one of the largest telecom providers in China. And their revenue growth has been 77% year over year. And I am talking about Finger Motion Inc. It's trading up almost 1,000%. And when this company reached out to me, I'm like, yeah, this could be a super interesting deep dive. So I'm leaving a full disclosure in the description below, but we're going to go over this stock. We're going to dive down into the books and we're going to hear from the CEO as well. So for all the homework I do, because trust me, this is going to be really interesting, consider hitting that like button and let's jump right into this. Welcome back, passive income investors alike. So I actually had to do some pretty deep digging to figure out what the heck is going on with this company be trading up as much as it is. And I'm kind of based it down to two real factors here. The first one was the most recent deal they signed, which we're going to take a look at. And the second biggest factor, I think, has to do with the fact of the contracts they have under their belts, because they're not outreaching to look for new clients. They're just kind of trying to tap into the user base based off these massive platforms with Alibaba, JD.com, and a ton of other companies they already have access to, which from my understanding, if their analytical data provides value, they end up profiting off the upside from that. But let's just take a look here, guys. First of all, Finger Motion subsidiary, and I'm not going to try and skew that name there, but it's an information and technology, is now licensed to operate and manage China's Unicom Yunnan subsidiary's online flagship stores in 3 major e-commerce platforms in China, namely Tmall, operated by Alibaba, JD.com. And according to the statement, it says, "This is a historic agreement for our company and demonstrates how our alignment with other partners are succeeding. China Unicom has entrusted us with not only being the face of its customer service, but also the branding of its official e-commerce stores. It is a tremendous honor to be held in such a high regard, and our team of programmers and marketers should take much of the credit. Official stores typically receive higher traffic volumes in China due to a percentage of greater trust and reliability." And just taking a look at their website here, as a mobile data specialist company, we analyze and transform mobile data to change the world. With a little bit of a company overview, Finger Motion was founded in 2016 by a group of experienced international business professionals from Asia Pacific with complementary expertise in game design, development, branding and publishing, marketing, software development, banking, and telecommunication. Now, the primary reach of their products and services consists of mobile data service platform, an innovative exchange platform for providing seamless integration between telecommunication companies and business. The second aspect here is mobile payment and recharge platform, which I'm sure many people are aware of with things like Stripe through Shopify, but enables customers to recharge or top up their mobile credits seamlessly in real time. And then third and final, the Big Data Insights, a data analysis application platform developed to analyze consumer behavior and activities for government departments and corporation customers, which we're going to find is very broad reaching here, guys. So let's dive down into the balance sheet really quick, kind of look through these subsidiaries of what this company is doing, who they own, and then we're going to kind of listen to the CEO to kind of get a broader viewpoint, because there are a few red flags under this balance sheet. But the most impressive thing, guys, that I think gives them the most stability right now is primarily the contracts that they hold. But right now, they own 3 subsidiaries of Finger Motion, along with Shanghai Zhizhu Business Management, which was one that we just heard of, Shaisai Xingzhu Information and Technology, and then Beijing, and I'm not even going to try and say that, but another technology company, which they own pretty much 100% of all these subsidiaries. So let's take a look at exactly what they do here, because these are based off pretty much 3 spectrums of the e-commerce market. When we're talking about gaming right now, which I'm surprised is still part of their business model that they include in here, considering they haven't proven any profitability or revenue generation yet. But the 2 sides they're primarily profiting off of is mobile recharge and SMS. And this is where we're going to see why their stock price has been so fluttery lately, because it went from 750,000 for the 3-month end in 2019 to May, going into the 3-month end for 2020, where they've seen a 48% decline. Again, if we go back to that stock price, guys, and we kind of scale this out over a year, they are hitting all-time highs right now, but we can see a massive sell-off kind of going into these quarters, which might be in relation to something to that specifically. But taking a look at where most of their growth right now primarily comes from is with that SMS, which I think is more related to the analytical data side of it, going from 182,000 to 2.3 million, literally, which just in a year is just staggering, an increase of 1,188%. 10%. They're just scrolling up to take a look at the revenue and cost of revenue, because this company right now operates on super slim margins. But just taking a look, their total revenue for the 3-month end, and again, trading on the OTC market, guys, we're not getting the most recent quarter of data, which is something else that I think might be reflecting into the current stock price. But taking a look right now, the revenue, guys, was 2.7 million, a cost of about 2.4 million. Again, coming back to these extremely slim margins here. And then finally, just taking a look at the assets versus liabilities just really quick. They sit on about 5.9 million in assets, and they're operating on a liability of about 6.54 million. So it kind of comes with a lot of confusion and risk when we're seeing, a negative underlying asset value. Their margins are very slim. But then you have to understand, you kind of get the complementing factors of the contracts they have. The fact that they're leading edge for these companies is pretty incredible in and of itself. And they're also trying to push for an uplisting exchange here, which makes a lot of sense of the current revenue growth that they are experiencing. So what I'd like to do, let's just listen to the CEO real quick and just see what he says about the company.
We're basically an e-commerce company, developing ways to monetize our abundant user base. But we look, act, and feel much different than what most perceive as a traditional e-commerce company. For other companies, most of their overhead is constrained to marketing and development costs designed to keep users engaged and attract new users to the platform. We have none of these issues because our portal partners give us unfettered access to what amounts to billions of users, and our cooperation agreements incentivize us to add incremental revenue to their business. From that, our budding SMS business has developed into a strong revenue center. Combined, these two divisions reported over $6.3 million in revenue for the first 6 months of this fiscal year, a jump of over 114%, and translates to an annual run rate of over $16 million, is growing ahead of schedule, bringing in incremental revenue and profitability. After extensive beta testing, we have launched our third pillar, the portal business, which will allow us to leverage our e-commerce partners' inventory to make a markup on goods that don't even sit on our balance sheet. And our fourth pillar, the thing we're most excited about, is our InsurTech business, which encapsulates all the things we are good at. We are great at marketing to users. We have the analytics and algorithms to figure out what the customer wants and when. And the ability to predict consumer behavior gives us a tremendous advantage in the marketplace. We're not alone in this space, and we will eventually have to compete with data companies like Snowflake, which recently raised $3.4 billion in its IPO. Even comparatively, we believe we have a major competitive advantage because of our unconstrained access to subscriber data. We have been continually building our internal policies and procedures for the past 2 years, ensuring that we are in a suitable position to uplist to a major national exchange when that opportunity arises.
So after listening to the CEO, which by the way, I'm going to leave the full link in the description below here, I think he really kind of consolidates a lot of the problems that investors have when we're talking about the lower margins, this big net of opportunity they have, the fact that this company started as primarily a gaming company that kind of networked with a lot of interesting individuals. They're finding more success on the analytical data side of things, and including this massive contract they just nailed with this telecommunication company, which again, I think is the reflection of why the stock has run to all-time highs. Now, where it goes from here, I think we're sitting at a very large valuation, but that usually comes with the prospects of high growth. I mean, just go take a look at Shopify trading up over 1,000 points. This is one of those companies that I think is going to be like the Chinese version and competitor to some of these e-commerce platforms. The stock is just doing what it's doing here, guys. You're gonna have to come to your own conclusion. So I'm gonna leave a bull thesis and everything else that you're gonna need to know in the description below, but stay cool, stay awesome, and I'll look forward to talking to you tomorrow.